Yeah.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
There.
Oh.
Hello. Hey, I had to hide something so you could see us.
We're flying in the sky like butterflies. Welcome to the Ganja Gospel. Maybe you guys caught us on the last episode of the Grow Bigger Go Home show, but we're here now. We're going to smoke a dab before the Hippie Witcher gets into Tablet 6 of the Lost Book of Enki, and it's going to get real interesting to most you Bible thumpers out there that thought God created people. And if you think that, you believe that strongly in your heart, then I want you to realize who that person is that you're saying created people. They're going to tell you exactly who created them. My face doesn't stay in there too well. It's weird. I have to have hair.
We have a lot of background.
I have to have hair or something.
See, the thing is that we have a lot of space behind us that the background has to figure out.
I have to have, but well, look.
See, the closer we get, it's because you don't have hair.
I don't have Dumbo ears no more.
It's like, oh my God. Because you don't have hair. It's trying to figure out the background from your hair.
All right, so we're going to start off this Sunday morning, afternoon church episode here with Big Fat Dab.
Hey.
This Big Fat Dab is brought to you by Twin Flame Farmz washing machine.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody. Creekwater's like, put a wig on, bro. I got plenty to choose from. I should have him do that one day, huh? Do you think he'd do it?
It's just so delicious.
So good. It's so good. Dabs up, everybody.
Dabs up, everybody.
Are you smoking on a joint, sucking on a bowl, hitting a bong, or doing a dab?
Yeah.
What are you doing today? Or are you eating an edible?
Don't eat the edibles yet. Well, you can eat the edibles. The Watchers, Eddie V says the Watchers. Cheers to everybody that's in here watching. We got people from Hawaii in here with Lindsay Productions, man.
We got people from all across the world with Christoph54 up in here.
Christoph's from fucking France and shit over there, man.
Cheers to everybody tuning in on the network. If you would like to chit chat, most of us are in the TwizTD RootZ YouTube chit chatting.
Yep.
You can certainly find that link below, but everybody else, please find the links to all of the network stuff and show that love before we go any further.
Yes. Before my brain fries from that dab, I'm slow.
I literally waited way too long.
My whole brain is turning from the back, bro. It feels like it's like folding in on itself, but my frontal lobe is cool, so I can talk and look. But all this is turning in on itself and rolling around my third eye. Like that shit is something. Those are the Obi-Wan Kenobi dabs right there. This one is. I'll give you one guess, and 3 of them don't work. You know it's Kylo Ren by the glossy consistency of bubbles. Kylo Ren always tastes like.
Oh Lord, have mercy! That's good.
So good.
Nice.
So good. Here's a different one if you want to.
The whole damn thing came out there.
Well, shucks. Some of the Obi-Wan looks fucking nice. It's so pretty. It's so pretty.
We saw Zeb the other day. Actually, he's been in chat. He's he's in the future, so he dips into the past every once in a while.
Yep, Zeb's been here.
Looney's a little bit in the past. He's like 5 hours earlier than us, so he's just starting to see that sun.
Zeb's in the future. Past and the future.
Not sure if Christoph's past or future and how far he is away. Timelines.
Christoph's day ends when ours is beginning.
So he's in the future too.
Yeah. He's in the future. Some people are like a day in the future. I always ask them what the numbers are going to be. And they always like, she disappeared. She straight disappeared. Poof. You should stay gone. It was so much cooler when you stayed gone. That was cool.
That was fucking cool, though.
Yeah, man, I always ask them, they're in the future, and I'm like, yo, what's the numbers? And they never know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, what are the lotto numbers, bro? And they're like, how the hell would I know? I'm like, dude, because you're in the future. Like, how would you not know what the lotto numbers are? You're a day ahead of us. And they're so confused. But I'm like, how is there confusion? You're a day ahead, so you know what the winning lotto numbers are. I don't get it.
Tell your secrets.
Bone Arrow Indian, what's happening?
Hello, Bone Arrow. Cheers, Benny, Ray, Looney, Twisted Thule.
The first amendment.
The first amendment. How funny. Scott, hello, everybody. Cheers, welcome, and welcome to everybody. And those two dabs got me nice and high, so let me get some coffee and get my throat under control so that I can read to you.
Yeah. Let me try a dabby. Little dabble do ya. Cheers, everyone.
Little dabble do ya. Yabba dabba do. Yabba dabba do. How are you? Did you suck down that smoke now? Yabba dabba do. Don't cough and spew.
Oh,
Hold that shit together.
I can't breathe. It took my mana. My prana's gone.
Oh, goodness.
So that's strong. This one's real strong.
This one's real strong. This is good. Like, you could see my eyes droop immediately almost when I took those hits. So, yeah, we're feeling good over here at the farm.
They took my breath away. Take your breath away.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. It's so good, I promise. Try it. But this one's way smoother, man. This one's like so smooth. You don't even know you took a hit. But if you want to get really fucking high, you gotta do the brown shit.
You gotta do the brown shit,
Yeah.
man.
The orange shit is like just turpified. It's just turpified. And the shit that looks like root beer, that shit's functified. Like straight the fuck up functified. Like Christ and fuck, man.
So we've got one. Hey, Ikmo. Did I say that right?
Ikmo J.
He's got it. He's in the future, and he's got those numbers.
22, 33, 42, 54, 7, and 3. Told you, bam, winning numbers.
Bam.
Yep.
He's got you, y'all. He's got us.
Well
done.
We're going to be rich tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it.
Fuck yeah. The lotto numbers are Wednesday, though.
What up, John? Welcome, darling.
Holy shit, man.
Holy shitski.
So you guys make bubble hash and then squish it into this stuff here that you smoke? I do. She does. Yo, that shit's strong, man. We thought we'd start off the show the right way with Big Fat Dab.
Big Fat Dab.
And let you know that you guys can too get some witch's wax. Shit.
It's white. It's not, or something. I don't know. It's just not going to work. There it is. You see it? Sort of, kind of. It's okay.
Shit.
It's,
So hit us up at twinflamefarms.com. Check out all of our products. You guys can buy them too. Hurry up and buy and get that healing on. You know what I'm saying? Hit us up on Third Eye Strains for all your black market deals.
Speak of the devil, Zeb Zeppelin in the house. I think he might have heard us. He decided to go back to the past, back to the future.
Going back to Cali.
All right, so we're on the 6th tablet today.
We are, and if
we're
you
like
guys
halfway.
Yep.
We're like halfway.
Almost halfway. There's 14 tablets. We're on 6. So if you guys remember all the other tablets, there was war on this other planet in our solar system. This planet destroyed some other planet named Tiamat. Half of it flew over here, became the Earth. The other half became the hammer bracelet that encircles. You heard it when she was talking last time. Or no, she was talking a different time. Encircles the moon. Or the sun. Encircles the sun. Not a bracelet. It encircles the sun. Then, there's war on this planet that destroyed that planet. And then they vowed that, man, we fucked up our whole planet and killed all the men, basically. So we need to make some new rules. They made a king and a queen from the north and the south, to always be ruling the planet. And then they learned that half-sisters were better than wives or concubines. They made this rule of succession. Their planet was dying. It was getting colder in the winter, real hot in the summer months. And their elliptical orbit it fucks up our shit once in a while. It's written about in the past. But so there's 2 kings, and one's a cupbearer. The other one's a king. One king gets his ass whooped, and he steals this ship. They fly. He flies. He knows because he gets the secrets from the ancient times where Earth might be, where this gold might be. Remember, this king wants to be the savior of this planet. He already had that in his mind. But then this overthrow took place. He's like, man, motherfucker, well, hell, I'm just going to jump in the ship anyway and just go over there. I'm just going to go get this gold real quick. So he comes over to Earth and beams back all the stuff. So they send all the people back over to Earth, and, they're called chosen heroes, and they come over here with Lord Enki. There's another wrestling match with these 2 kings. The one king that got his ass whooped the first time gets his ass whooped again on Earth. Because, on Earth now, he ain't even strong no more. He's been on Earth for at least 2 of their years, which is 7,200 years of our years. And the whole time, he's been getting weaker and weaker and weaker on our planet, right? Because there's no good food here for them to eat. Remember, they're high-frequency beings, right? So they have another wrestling match, and the dude loses, gets his ass whooped. But before it all ends, he fucking reaches up and bites this dude's cock and balls right off. So, the highest of high of that planet, the most high king, is a eunuch now because he got his cock and his balls bit off and swallowed by the Elelu king. That dude dies, gets put on Mars. They carve a big old rock on Mars into a face on Mars. He's there in that cave. Then, transforming all this stuff, they're fixing Earth and stuff, making towns and houses and stuff for all these people to live. Their abodes. They're making houses for these Anunnaki people to live and take over our planet while this mining is going on. While this mining is going on, thousands of our years go by. 40 shars at least, or 100 shars go by, or whatever it was of theirs. tons of years, like 100 years of theirs goes by, but it's hundreds of thousands of years in our time goes by of the sun going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down.
It's like a strobe light to them.
Yeah, so new people were coming, the old people were leaving, new people were coming, new generations were being born on Nibiru that weren't born in the time of this crisis. So they're the millennials, come over to Earth. The millennials don't take the shit serious. They don't think they gotta work. They don't think they're used to being taken care of on Nibiru and catered to, and everything's given to you there. And here it's hot. You gotta work hard, and you know, shit's not that good here, you know, compared to Nibiru. So they start bitching and revolting, just like 2020. And then comes the age of the robot. You know what I'm saying? The age of the sheeple. And we're going to hear about the age of the sheeple coming up, and how lust and greed and desire corrupted the hearts of the animal, the man. And the man animal became what it is today, based on digressions of the past and past. What do they call that? Enticement. When you like try to get somebody to come over here, you're like,
it's
what do they do?
It's a form of manipulation. It's
manipulation. But when you
I know the word you're thinking of. I know it. I can't.
When I want you to come across the street and I'm showing you this nice, sexy fucking pool and come over and play in my pool, and I'm trying to get you over there. Like, what the hell's the word for that? Not entice, not coerce. What is it when the devil tries to coerce, not coerce.
There's another word that we're thinking of, and we're thinking of the same word. I know persuade would be a good word, but that's not the word we're thinking of either. Well, I feel like it starts with an A of some sort, like lure. Lure is also a good word. We're stuck on the word now.
Stuck around it. But anyway,
yes.
So that's what, not manipulate, not lure. It was all these kind of words that mean the same kind of thing, but it's a better one. Persuade. No, it's not persuade. But all these things were happening because of what happened in our past. We love gold because of what happened in our past. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why we should love gold. We're not dragons. We're not draconian. We're not any of these things. And in this
why is it such a thing
in this whole story, in all these stories, you'll never hear anything about draconians, never anything about lizard people, never anything about any of that. Now, not to say that there weren't those type of beings that lived on that planet, because we heard in the times of old, they wrote the stories of they were all animals. Those animals evolved into having hands, and those hands held tools. Those tools became weapons, and those weapons became mass destruction weapons, and they killed and destroyed everybody. So, you know, when all that happened, that's when they decided to make changes and stuff. But remember, they say they all evolved from animals, where if you listen to Darwin's evolution theory, we all evolved from monkeys. So on their planet, though, if we all evolved from monkeys, a different type of species, monkey, white versus black and Asian and all those different kinds, the different kinds of monkeys, it kind of makes sense. It does. If we evolved truly from monkeys, but they evolved like as lions, tigers, bears.
Oh my,
you know, monkeys, giraffes, dinosaurs, you know, fucking dolphins. Like they say they evolved from all species of animals. But also remember, squirrels. They want a nut, I'm telling you. But remember, they have never seen a snake. On their planet, they report that they had never seen a snake before. They didn't know what a serpent was. They never said they didn't know what a reptile was. They just didn't know what a legless, slithering creature was, a serpent. Okay? They didn't know what a serpent was until they got to this planet. So you see. And if those are the gods to you on God's own planet, after he was born, there was no snake, there was no serpent. So the serpent in the garden, that was where they fucking first started mining the gold. Is what it was. So we're going to hear the most gorgeous and lovely hippie witch reading about our forefathers and 403 holy seeds ago. The time before the flood and the time before the evil wind that is not written about or discussed by any church out there. I'm telling you, except for the Ganja Gospel, we talk about the evil wind that destroyed the planet and killed everybody. We heard about it last time. They said the bodies were piled up on top of each other, rotting corpses everywhere. The whole planet.
Okay, let's get to it. My turn. The sixth tablet. Synopsis of the sixth tablet. To the incredulous leadership, Enki reveals a secret. In the Abzu, there roams a wild being akin to the Anunnaki. By augmenting its life essence with that of the Anunnaki, it can be upgraded to be an intelligent primitive worker. Creation belongs to the father of all beginning, Enlil shouted. We will give our image only to an existing being, Ninmah argued. Badly needing gold to survive, the leaders vote yes. Enki, Ninmah, and Ningazida, Enki's son, begin experiments. After many failures, the perfect model, Adamu, is attained. Ninmah shouts triumphantly, my hands have made it. She is renamed Ninti, Lady of Life. For her achievement, Ninki, Enki's spouse, helps fashion Tiamat, a female earthling. The earthlings, being hybrids, mate but do not procreate. Ningazida adds 2 essence branches to their life tree. Discovering the unapproved goings, Enlil expels the earthlings. So in case you guys, just to recap to the last time, they were trying to figure out, because of all of the uprising, they needed to figure out some other thing to do the work.
The age of
they didn't want to work.
Yep, this is the age of the sheeple. They wanted to make a tool so the Anunnaki millennials, the third age of the fucking Anunnaki, they didn't want to work no more. They didn't want to work like their dads were working. They were like, fuck this, let's make some tool. You guys need to make something to make this easier. It's way too fucking hot down here, man. We're sweating. We're breaking a sweat. Go ahead, sir.
So it's okay. I just wanted to see. There's things that are in this book that depict certain things, and I haven't been showing them. And on my other channel, Books Aloud, I'm trying to remember to show each of them.
What do you guys think this is?
Should I not say? It's going to show it. It's right there. Here, I'm going to show it first. If I can.
That's not going to show it.
I don't. Nope, it's definitely not. Sorry, never mind. Okay.
You can kind of see it back there.
I'd have to redo everything. So it is actually a double helix DNA emblem of Ningazida, and it shows the snake that we use for the health logo. A lot of health logos that have that helix snake. That is basically what this is. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it far away. It's got two
standing on both sides,
2 lion-like, winged, cheetah-like things on either side. It's kind of interesting. I gotta get further back. And then this is the double helix in the middle.
Where did you find this book, Ray Evans?
This is it's all over the place. I got this one on either Amazon or eBay, one of the two. I think eBay might have been a little bit less expensive, but it's the Lost Book of Enki. Just type it in Google for shopping, and you got all kinds of different links to go through.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Here we go. The 6th tablet. To create a primitive worker by the mark of our essence to fashion him. So was Enki to the leaders, saying, the being that we need, it already exists. Thus did Enki to them a secret of the Abzu reveal. With astonishment did the other leaders Enki's words hear. By the words, they were fascinated. Creatures in the Abzu there are, Enki was saying, that walk erect on 2 legs. Their 4 legs they use as arms. With hands they are provided. Among the animals of the steppe they live. They know not dressing in garments. They eat plants with their mouths. They drink water from lake and ditch. Shaggy with hair is their whole body. Their head hair is like a lion's. With gazelles they jostle. With teeming creatures in the waters they delight. The leaders to Enki's words with amazement listened. No creature like that has ever in the Eden been seen, Enlil, disbelieving, said. Eons ago, on Nibiru, our predecessors like that might have been, Ninmah was saying. It is a being, not a creature, Ninmah was saying. To behold, it must be a thrill.
So hold on right there. So you see that on their planet, they're saying eons ago, there could have been a creature like that we evolved from. So nothing came to Nibiru and boosted them. They didn't have a god. No god created them. They actually evolved. That is their history. They have the history of them evolving. So they talk about this and they say, hey, man, we haven't seen this creature around here. Remember last few chapters, we heard Lord Enki talking about how they lived amongst the trees. And then he observed them walking upright through the the tall grass and no longer living in the trees. So in this time, 144,000 years had gone by on our planet. So evolution could have been taking place. You know what I'm saying? The whole time. Like you might say, but how? Well, they have the holy seed. They hear them drinking in the rivers and shit, right? So the Anunnaki probably had to piss in the rivers. They might have did a little, who knows what they did, but their holy seed probably, their DNA is probably spread around the planet by this time. So animals could have started evolving possibly from that, or just by possibly the evolutional theory. But why? Why hasn't any other creature evolved, right? They even said that this creature was akin to them, right? So you got to look up what's akin. Akin is like your cousin, your sister, your brother. The same DNA as you is what they're talking about, right? So similar. So like you try to mate with a cat, there's no birth, there's no baby being born. You try to mate with a moose, there's no baby being born, right? But possibly with the holy seed, mixing DNA with a primate could work. It literally could work because our DNAs match so closely. You just have to tweak a few things here or there. So we're going to hear about how they did this. I just want you to remember that they have stories of evolution, not of creation, and they have never seen that creature in the Eden, but Lord Enki has been observing this creature for at least 144,000 of our years. Okay.
To the house of life, Enki led them. In strong cages, there were some of the beings. At the sight of Enki and the others, they jumped up. With fists on the cage bars they were beating. They were grunting and snorting. No words were they speaking. Male and female they are, Enki was saying. Malehoods and femalehoods they have. Like us, from Nibiru coming, they are procreating. Ningazita, my son, their fashioning essence has tested. Akin to ours it is, like 2 serpents it is entwined.
That's their DNA strands. That's what the picture was. The 2 Anunnaki standing there with the cone-shaped tools. It's not cone-shaped tools. Those are me formulas, and they're fucking with the DNA to try to make us.
When there with our life essence shall be combined, our mark upon them shall be. A primitive worker shall be created. Our commands will he understand. Our tools he will handle. The toil and the excavations he shall perform. To the Anunnaki in the Abzu, relief shall come. So was Enki with enthusiasm, saying, with excitement his words came forth. Enlil at the words was hesitating. The matter is one of great importance. On our planet, slavery has long ago been abolished. Tools are the slaves, not other beings.
Go.
Dude,
Go.
No.
Go. Come on.
No.
Out.
no.
Out. Come on.
Enlil at the words was hesitating. The matter is one of great importance. On our planet, slavery has long ago been abolished. Tools are the slaves, not other beings. A new creature, beforehand non-existing, you wish to bring into being. Creation in the hands of the Father of all, beginning alone is held.
So I want you to realize that. Hold your point real
Okay.
quick. So I want you to realize that, right? So Lord Enki, being the creator that he is and the scientist that he is, he's like, all right, I got the solution here. It's this little creature. We're going to make this being. It's going to be cool. And he's not thinking about these beings having consciousness. He's just thinking about it being a tool that he could use. Enlil, strangely, is like, I'm not for this, man. This is wrong. We've never made anything like this before. Like, that's the creator of all. Notice, there's no God. Creator of all is what they know. They don't believe shit. They know that there's a creator of all. Go ahead, baby.
Creation in the hands of the Father of all beginning alone is held. So was Enlil in opposing, saying, stern were his words. Enki to his brother responded, not slaves, but helpers is my plan. The being already exists, Ninma was saying. To give more ability is the plan. Not a new creature, but one existing more in our image made, Enki with persuasion said.
So they already had kind of their image. They said we needed to be a little more in our image, and then we can control it.
With little change, it can be achieved. Only a drop of our essence is needed. A grave matter it is. It is not to my liking, Enlil was saying. Against the rules of from planet to planet journeying, it is.
So you hear that? That's against the rules. Planet to planet journey. You hear that? So somewhere there's a cosmic law. There is a galaxy cosmic law that when you go to planet, you are not to fucking disturb each planet and start creating fucking people all over the place. It's a law somewhere in the cosmos. Interesting.
By the rules of to earth coming, it was forbidden. To obtain gold was our purpose. To replace the Father of all beginning, it was not. After Enlil thus had spoken, Ninma was the one to respond. My brother, Ninma to Enlil was saying, with wisdom and understanding has the Father of all beginning us endowed. To what purpose have we so been perfected, else of it utmost use to make? With wisdom and understanding, as the creator of all, our life essence filled. To whatever using of it we capable are, it is not that for which we have been Is it not that for which we have been destined? So was Ninma words to her brother Enlil directing. With that which in our essence was granted, tools and chariots we have perfected, mountains with terror weapons we shattered, skies with gold we are healing. So was Ninurta to his birth-giving mother saying, let us with wisdom new tools fashion, not new beings create. Let by new equipments, not by slave beings, the toil be relieved.
That? Not by slave beings. They knew they were not going to create an actual, they weren't going to create a tool. Like, this tool can go away. I don't have to feed it. It's not going to cry. It's never going to feel anything that I can consciously sense. Except for a vibration when it breaks, right? But they knew that when they created a creature, the creature would have the consciousness to know that it was a slave. They knew that would the only entitlement of that creature would be a slave. It no longer was a tool. They needed slavery, and the only place they could do it was this planet, because slavery's abolished on their planet long time ago.
Let by new equipments, not by slaves being, the toil be relieved. Whereto our whereto our understanding does us lead, to that we have been destined. So was Ningazita saying. With Enki and Ninma, he in agreement was. What knowledge we possess, its use cannot be prevented, Ningazita was saying. Destiny indeed cannot be altered. From the beginning to the end, it has been determined. To them Enlil was thus saying, destiny it is, or fate it is, that to this planet us has brought, to gold from the water's foil, to put Anunnaki heroes to excavate toil, to a primitive worker creating to be planning? That, my kinfolk, is the question. Thus, with graveness, Enlil was saying, is it destiny? Is it fate? That is what deciding requires. It is from the beginning ordained, or by us for choosing. To put the matter before Anu, they decided. Anu, before the council, the matter presented. The elders, the savants, the commanders were consulted. Long and bitter the discussions were, of life and death, fate and destiny, words were spoken. Can there be another way the gold to obtain? Survival is in danger. If gold must be obtained, let the being be fashioned, the council decided. Let Anu forsake the rules of planetary journeys. Let Nibiru be saved. From Anu's palace the decision to earth was beamed. It, Enki, delighted. Let Ninma my helper be. Of such matters understanding she has. Thus was Enki saying. At Ninma was with a longing he was gazing. Let it so be, Ninma was saying. Let it so be, Enlil did say. By Enugi was the decision to the Anunnaki in the Abzu announced. Until the being is achieved, to the toil willingly you must return, he said. There was disappointment, rebellion there was not. To the toil the Anunnaki returned. In the house of life, in the Abzu, how to fashion the being, Enki to Ninma was explaining.
Yes. So we have the first fashioning coming, right? And you see, they don't want to do it. You know, the higher ups, the people in charge, they don't want to create this being. They don't want to go against the creator of all. But they also know, that they are superior beings in our solar system. They know that, so they were the only planet that had life on it in our solar system. They know that the creator of all bestowed such power to them, like frequency power, the God power, right? Gave them high frequency, gave them the holy seed of creation, right? When you talk about Bible stuff and you're talking about, they say the holy seed, that is semen from Lord Enki. We're going to hear about it, right? This shit was powerful as hell. And you're going to hear that not all the Anunnaki had this holy seed, right? They had powerful sperm that created abominations upon the earth that let them pull on a flood. But after that flood, there was only good people on the earth, good humans. And then they brought this other thing, the evil wind, that made them cry because all the humans died. So let's see what happens. Them creating a slave race. They have to create a slave race out of a bunch of not monkeys, not even Cro-Magnon man, right? These are just uprighting, bipedal, covered with fur, straight out of being an ape, turning into a man, but still being like an animal.
Fully furred.
Fully furred, big old mane like a lion. Imagine that, because we have big old heads of hair.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine,
our hair grows longer on the head.
So
right?
their skin would be dark. Dark though, still dark. That would be like an ape man. Okay, not a white man. There was no white man nowhere. Plus, they're in Africa. They naturally would be a dark color, you know, for the protection of the sun.
To a place among the trees, Ninma he directed. A place of cages it was. In the cages there were odd creatures. Their likes in the wild no one had seen.
I want you to pay attention here. Ninma directed them to these cages in the trees, and in these cages They found shit that does not exist in nature. Because you know why? They genetically spliced creatures together like the griffin.
So Enki and Ningazita were doing this. He's now showing Ninma where and what he's done. 4 parts of any kind they had, hind parts of another creature they possessed. Creatures of 2 kinds by their essences combined to Ninma Enki was showing. To the house of life they returned, to a clean place with brightness shining they led her. In the clean place, Ningazita to Ninma, the life essence secrets was explaining. How the essence from 2 kinds combined can be, he to her was showing. The creatures in the tree cages are too odd, monstrous they are, Ninma was saying. Indeed so, Enki responded, to attain perfection for that you are needed. How the essence to combine, how much of this, how much of that to put together. In which womb conception to begin, in which womb should the birth be given. For that your succor and healing understanding are needed.
See, so he had half the knowledge. He knew how to splice the shit, but he was making monsters. He was making leviathans. He made like giraffes and fucking all the minotaurs, all the things that you've heard about, seen about, written about, drawings, and all those things of 2 different creatures or 4 different creatures mixed. He created all that shit. You know, that thing that had a lion's head, a goat on its back, and wings and shit? Yeah, he was creating that shit and letting them loose. He let that shit loose. But he needed her succor and healing. The true medical, clinical person, like a hospital doctor. He needed a real doctor. He was the in the cave scientist making the alchemy shit. He needed a real doctor to say, how do I put these together exactly to create this thing I need, right? He didn't know that knowledge.
The understanding of one who gave birth, who a mother is required. A smile on the face of Ninma was, the 2 daughters that by Enki she mothered, she well remembered. With Ningazita, she surveyed the sacred formulas that on knees were secreted. How this and that were done, of him she inquired. The creatures in the tree cages she examined, the 2-legged creatures she contemplated. By a male inseminating a female are the essences transmitted. The 2 entwined strands separate and combine an offspring to fashion. Let a male Anunnaki, a 2-legged female impregnate. Let a combination offspring be born. Thus did Ninma say. That we have tried with failures, it resulted, to her Enki responded. There was no conceiving, there was no birth.
So they basically wanted to have, they made the Anunnaki males have sex with these 2-legged bipedal hairy monsters that they found in the, so basically these dudes were raping these creatures. Imagine the story of our past. You know, and you're trying to figure this out. But so you're raping these monsters and trying to create something. So you're raping Bigfoot, and then it didn't work. So they're like, dude, we tried that. That shit ain't working. So what's the next step? Here's the next step.
Now this is the account of how the primitive worker was created. How Enki and Ninma, with Ningazita assisting, the being fashioned. Another way the admixtures of essences to attain must be tried, Ninma was saying. How the 2 strands of essences to combine another way must be found. That which from the earth is the portion must not be harmed. To receive our essence in graduations, it must be shaped. From the me formulas of Nibiru's essence only bit by bit could be attempted. In a crystal vessel, Ninma an admixture was preparing. The oval of a female 2-legged she gently placed. With me, Anunnaki seed containing, she the oval impregnated. That oval back into the womb of the 2-legged female she inserted. This time there was conceiving. A birth was indeed forthcoming. The allotted time for birth giving the leaders awaited. With anxious hearts they results were seeking. The allotted time arrived. There was no birth giving. In desperation, Ninma a cutting made. That which was conceived with tongs she drew out.
So there was your first report of a cesarean section on Earth. almost 1,000,000 years ago.
A living being it was. With glee, Enki shouted. We attained, Ningazida with joy cried out. In her hands, Ninma the newborn held. With joy she was not filled. Shaggy, with hair all over, was the newborn. His foreparts like of the earth creatures were. His hind parts to those of the Anunnaki more akin they were. They let the two-legged female, the newborn nurse, with her milk him to suckle. Fast was the newborn growing. What on Nibiru a day was, a month in the Abzu was. Taller the earth child grew. In the image of the Anunnaki, he was not. His hands for tools were not suited. His speech only grunting sounds was. We must try once more, Ninma was saying. The admixture needs adjusting. Let me, the me's, assay. With this or that, me make the endeavor. With Enki and Ningazida assisting, they repeated the procedures. The essences in the me's Ninma carefully considered. One bit she took from one bit she took out from another. Then in the crystal bowl, the oval of an earth female she inseminated. There was conception. At the appropriate time, there was birth giving. This one more in the likeness of the Anunnaki was. They let this birth mother him suckle. They let the newborn to a child grow. Appealing he was by his looks. His hands to hold tools were shapen. His senses they tested. They found him deficient. The earth child could not hear. His eyesight was faltered. Again and again, Ninma rearranged the admixtures of the me formulas. She took bits and pieces. One being had paralyzed feet. Another, his semen was dripping. One had trembling hands. A malfunctioning liver had another. One had hands too short to reach the mouth. One had lungs for breathing unsuited. Enki, by the results, was disappointed. A primitive worker is not attained, to Ninma he was saying. What is good or is bad in this being by trials I am discovering, Ninma to Enki responded. To continue for success, my heart prompts me. Once more, an admixture she made. Once more, the newborn was deficient. Perchance the shortfall is not in the admixture, Enki to her was saying. Perchance neither in the female's oval nor in the essences is the hindrance. Of what the earth itself is fashioned, perchance that is what is missing. Not of Nibiru's crystals use the vessel, of the clay of earth make it. So was Enki with great wisdom possessed, to Ninma saying, perchance what is earth's own admixture of gold and copper is required. Thus was Enki, he who knows things, prompting her to use clay of the Abzu. In the house of life, Ninma made a vessel. Of the Abzu's clay she made it. As a purifying bath, she shaped the vessel, within it to make the admixture. Gently into the clay vessel, the oval of an earth female, the two-legged, she put. The life essence from an Anunnaki's blood extracted, she in the vessel placed. By the me formulas was the essence directed. Bit by correct bit was it in the vessel added. Then the oval thus fertilized into the womb of the earth female she inserted. There is conception, Ninma with joy announced. The allotted birth-giving time they waited. At the allotted time, the earth female began to travail. A child, a newborn, was forthcoming. With her hands, Ninma the newborn extracted. A male it was. In her hands she held the child. His image she examined. It was the image of perfection. In her hands she held up the newborn. Enki and Ningazida were present. With joyful laughter, the three leaders were seized. Enki and Ningazida were backslapping. Ninma, Enki embraced and kissed. Your hands have made it, Enki, with a gleaming eye to her, was saying. They let the birth-giving mother, the newborn, suckle. Quicker than a child on Nibiru grows, he was growing. From month to month, the newborn progressed. From a baby to a child, he was becoming. His limbs for the task were suited. Speech he knew not. Of speaking he had no understanding. Grunts and snorts were his utterings. Enki the matter was pondering. What was done each step and admixture he considered. Of all that we had tried and changed, one thing was never altered, to Ninma he was saying. Into the womb of the earth female, the fertilized oval was always inserted. Perchance this is the remaining obstruction, thus was Enki saying. Ninmah at Enki's gazed, the bewilderment she him beheld.
So I want you guys to understand something real quick, right? So this is going by. She's reading this fast like the Old Testament, right? So fast. But they're literally waiting 9 days. They're giving birth. They're first making a test tube. Like it's a test tube baby. And it was in Nibiru's crystal. They had a crystal vessel. They added all the admixtures in there in the correct order, right? To make the right flavor, to make them right meat formula. And then they were putting that vessel, this little vessel, up in the uterus of the earth creature. And it was always failure. Always something was wrong. So they said, oh man, maybe it's not the crystals we need. Maybe it's not the frequency, wrong frequency, right? So here's your Bible story. Made from the clay of the earth, right? So they used the clay of the earth and made a clay vessel, put all the stuff back in how it's supposed to, put it up in the womb, and boom, perfection. They got it. But now these damn things can't talk or understand what we're saying. So what in the hell is the problem? Oh, wait. So maybe we don't got to put it in the earth being. Maybe we got all the admixtures right, but we just need to put it in the high frequency being and get that extra power is what it needs, right? So mind you,
intellectual spark.
Yeah. There's time's going by, right? So it's 9 days for the Anunnaki, but it's still 9 months on Earth, right? The Earth time is still ticking away. So that creature's time's still ticking, right? It gives birth, it suckles the kid gets ripped away from them. The Anunnaki are raising this child and start doing tests on it. It's like, oh, this shit's fucked up too. Damn it. What do we got to do? So like years are going by. That's what you got to understand. Years and years and years are going by and they keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. This wasn't a fast microwave, some popcorn shit. This was years are going by. They're trying to figure this out, you know. Go ahead, baby. Sorry.
What in truth are you saying? Of him she an answer required. Of the birth-giving womb am I speaking, to her Enki was responding. Of who the fertilized oval nurtures, to birth-giving carries, in our image and after our likeness to be. Perchance an Anunnaki womb is required. In the house of life there was silence. Words never before heard Enki was uttering. They gazed at each other, about what in each other's mind they were thinking. Wise are your words, my brother, Ninmah at long last was saying. Perchance the right admixture in the wrong womb was inserted. Now where is the female among the Anunnaki her womb to offer? Perchance the perfect primitive worker to create, perchance a monster in her belly to carry. So was Ninmah with a trembling voice saying, let me of Ninki, my spouse, of that inquire, Enki was saying. Let us her to the house of life summon, the matter before her lay out. He was turning to depart when Ninmah put her hand on his shoulder. No, no, to Enki she was saying. The admixtures by me were made. Reward and endangerment should be mine. I shall be the one the Anunnaki womb to provide. For good or evil, fate to face. Enki bowed his head. Gently he embraced her. So be it. To her he said.
Remember, that's his half-sister.
In the clay vessel, the admixture they made. The oval of an earth female with Anunnaki male essence they put together. The fertilized egg into the womb of Ninmah by Enki was inserted. There was conception. The pregnancy by an admixture conceived. How long will it last? To each other they wondered. Will it be 9 months of Nibiru? Will it be 9 months of earth? Longer than on earth, quicker than on Nibiru, travail came. To a male child, Ninmah birth was giving. Enki, the boy child held in his hands, the image of perfection he was. He slapped the newborn on his hind parts. The newborn uttered proper sounds. He handed the newborn to Ninmah. She held him up in her hands. My hands have made it, victoriously she shouted. Now this is the account of how Adamu by name was called, and how Amat, as a counterpart female for him, was fashioned.
So who knows about Ninmah? Anybody know about Ninmah, the first birth mother of actual people? Y'all know? The first creation, the true creation that came to this earth, you know? Anybody know about her name? Forever she was supposed to be known. It's not Mary. Go ahead.
The newborn's visage and limbs the leaders carefully examined. Of good shape were his ears, his eyes were not clogged. His limbs were proper, hind parts like legs, fore parts like hands were shaped. Shaggy like the wild ones he was not. Dark black his head hair was. Smooth was his skin, smooth as the Anunnaki skin it was. Like dark red blood was its color.
Okay, hold up right there.
I'm not done with the sentence.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like dark red blood was its color. Like the clay of the Abzu was its hue.
Okay, so there you go. Describing the first people on Earth, right? Dark hair, right? Dark, to say anything wavy or anything like that? About the hair, wavy?
He not
Dark
yet.
hue
It
was
just
the
says
hair.
dark black his head hair was.
Dark black.
Shaggy like the wild ones he was not, but that's
so,
his body hair.
So previously they made wild ones, okay, and they were shaggy. So we can go through our history though and find exactly what the hell they described as wild men on this planet. So they let them go. They didn't just murder these beings. They let them go free and go do their stuff. Then they created these ones with black hair, okay, brown and red skin, like red, like dark blood, the color of the soil, brown or red clay, okay? So when you go back and you think, who was the first people created on this earth? What color were they and stuff like that? Right. People say they were black and everyone's saying they're black people. And most people think Africans are the black people and stuff. And I always tell all of them, you're wrong. You're all wrong. Like in the beginning, everyone was the same color. And here you hear what the color is. It's not this or that. It was actually a reddish brown, just like the Native Americans. You're going to hear what I'm talking about. People, black people nowadays, they think they were the original Indians of the North Americas and South Americas. You're wrong. We're going to hear it.
Like dark red blood was its color. Like the clay of the Abzu was its hue. They looked at his malehood. Odd was its shape. By a skin was its forepart surrounded. Unlike that of Anunnaki malehood it was, a skin from its forepart was hanging. Let the earthling from us Anunnaki by this foreskin be distinguished. So was Enki saying. The newborn to cry was beginning. To her chest Ninmah closely drew him. Her breast to him she gave. The breast he began to suckle.
So you see, we had foreskin. We have foreskins on our penises. Women don't have this thing. Men, we have foreskins on our penis because we are animals. That signifies that we came from animals, right? And this is exactly how they knew us apart, because they looked like us. They looked like us so much they couldn't tell us apart from them. Except for our penises had the cap on it, had a little dummy cap on that shit. So this becomes a very super important thing in the future of the Anunnaki on this planet with the giants. And even today, people getting their penis chopped, and you should hear this shit. There's about to be a war against the uncircumcised and the circumcised. You're going to shit. Mark my words. Go ahead, baby.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, shoot. I just lost it.
It was the top of the page.
Was it? Oh, I just turned it, did I? Okay, good. Perfection we did attain. Ningazita with elation was saying. Enki at his sister was gazing. A mother and son, not Ninmah, and a being, he was saying. A name will you give him? Enki inquired. A being he is, not a creature. Ninmah cast her hand upon the newborn's body. With her fingers his dark red skin she caressed. Adamu, I shall call him, Ninmah was saying. One who like earth's clay is, that will be his name. For the newborn, Adamu, a crib they fashioned. In a corner of the house of life, they placed him. A model for primitive workers we have indeed attained, Enki was saying.
There you go, a model. So they're going to use this base for genetic copies.
Now a host of workers like him are needed. Ningazita is his elders reminded. A model indeed he shall be, as for himself, like a firstling, he shall be treated. From toil he himself shall be protected. His essence alone as a mold shall be. So was Enki saying. By his decree, Ninmah was greatly pleased. Whose wombs henceforth the fertilized oval shall carry? Ningazita was asking. The leaders the matter pondered. Ninmah a solution offered. From her city, Shurubak, Ninmah female healers summoned. The task required to them, she explained.
Ray, you're going to have to get lotion because since childbirth, they jerked this baby off to use its cum to fertilize these eggs for thousands and thousands of primitive workers. So for real, this shit's deep, bro. This would be the greatest movie in the world.
It's okay if you don't believe, but please be respectful.
Oh, he's fine.
That's what I say.
He's fine.
Just
he's
open.
He's like me in church.
I know. No, I'm good. I'm good. We're good. We're all good. But that's the only thing we put here.
I'm just letting him know the reality of it. They use this baby's essence.
Yeah.
And
he's the model.
And fertilized eggs. So.
Okay. From her city.
Lotion, bro.
From her city, Shurubak, Ninmah female healers summoned. The task required to them, she explained. To the crib of Adamu, she led them, the newborn earthling to perceive. To perform the task is not a commandment, Ninmah to them was saying. Your own wish is the decision. Of the female Anunnaki assembled, 7 stepped forward, 7 the task accepted.
The 7 birth mothers written about today in today's time.
Let their names for all time be remembered, Ninmah to Enki was saying. Their task is heroic.
What's her name?
By them a race of primitive workers shall come into being. The 7 stepped forward. Each one her name was announcing. The names Ningazita recorded. Ninima, Shuziana, Ninmada, Ninbara, Ninmug, Musardu, and Ninguna.
Okay, now you heard. They were going to usher in a race, not just a fucking couple, a race of primitive workers, right? What happened to the primitive workers? Did they were done with the job, so they just threw them all in the trash? They're still on this planet, yo. You're going to find out.
These were the names of the 7 who by their own wish birth mothers were to be. Earthlings in their wombs to conceive and bear, primitive workers to create. In 7 vessels of the clay of the Abzu made, Ninmah ovals of the 2-legged females placed. In the life essence of Adamu, she extracted, bit by bit in the vessels it inserted. Then in the male part of Adamu an incision was made. She made a drop of blood to let out. Let this a sign of life be. That flesh and soul have combined, let it forever proclaim. She squeezed the male part for blood, 1 drop of blood in each vessel to the admixture she added. In this clay's admixture, earthling with the Anunnaki shall be bound. Thus was Ninmah saying, an incantation she was pronouncing. To a unity shall the 2 essences, one of heaven, one of earth, together be brought, that which is of earth and that which is from Nibiru by a blood kinship shall be bonded. So was Ninmah pronouncing her words. Ningazita also recorded. In the wombs of the birth-giving heroines, the fertilized ovals were inserted.
You heard how important that was. So that witch put incantations into the whole intention of what she was doing and creating, right? It meant something super powerful that we've been completely ripped away from. I feel completely robbed of it. You know what I mean? And I think that if they came back, maybe they would want to do something about that. I would hope. Or maybe we're stuck with the millennials from their planet. You know, we're stuck with them from here too.
There was conception. With anticipation was the allotted time counted. At the allotted time, birth givings were occurring. At the allotted time, 7 male earthlings were born. Their features were proper, good sounds they were uttering. By the heroines they were suckled. 7 primitive workers have been created, Ningazita was saying. Let the procedure be repeated. 7 more the toil to undertake. My son, to him Enki was saying, not even 7 by 7 sufficient shall be. Of heroine healers too much is required. Forever their task this way shall be. Indeed, the task is too demanding. Slow beyond enduring it is, Ninmah to them said. Female ones we have to fashion, Enki was saying, for males' counterparts to be. Let them know each other, as one flesh, the two to become. Let them by themselves procreate, on their own the childbirthing make. To primitive workers by themselves give birth, Anunnaki females to relieve. The me formulas you must change, from male to female adjustment make. So did Enki to Ningazita say. For a counterpart to Adamu. Thank you. For a counterpart to Adamu to be fashioned. In the womb of an Anunnaki female, conception is needed. So did Ninkazita to his father Enki in responding say. Enki at Ninmah his gaze directed. Before she could speak, he raised his hand. Let me this time, Ninki, my spouse, summon. With strong voice, he said. If she is willing, let her the mold for the female earthling create. They to the Abzu, to the house of life, Ninki summoned. They showed her Adamu. All that matters to her they explained. Of the task that is required, they gave explanations. Of success and danger to her an account gave. By the task, Ninki was fascinated. Let it be done, she said to them. By the me formulas, Ningazita adjusting made. By the admixture was an oval fertilized. Into the womb of his spouse Enki it inserted. With much care he did it. There was conception. In the allotted time, Ninki was in travail. A birth there was not. Ninki, the months counted. Ninmah, the months counted. The 10th month, a month of evil fates, they began to call. Ninmah, the lady whose hand wombs has opened, with a cutter an incision made. Her head was covered. On her hands protection she wore. With dexterity the openings she made. Her face at once was brightened. That which in the womb was from the womb came forth. A female birth was given. To Ninki with joy she shouted. The newborn's visage and limbs they carefully examined. Of good shape were her ears. Her eyes were not clogged. Her limbs were proper. Hind parts like legs. Foreparts like hands were shaped. Shaggy she was not. Like beach sands was the hue of her head hair.
Blonde.
Her skin smooth was as that of the Anunnaki in smoothness and color it was. She was the same color as the Anunnaki.
Same color.
Ninmah, the girl
No
child.
scales.
Ninmah, the girl child held in her hands. She slapped her hind parts, proper sounds that the newborn uttered. To Ninki, the spouse of Enki, she, the newborn, handed to be suckled, nourished, and raised.
So what did they say about the chick again? Can we read that?
We can. Absolutely. Let's go back to that. A female birth was given. To Ninki with joy was she shouted. The newborn's visage and limbs they carefully examined. Of good shape were her ears. Her eyes were not clogged. Her limbs were proper. Hind parts like legs. Foreparts like hands were shaped. Shaggy she was not. Like beach sands was the hue of her head hair. Her skin smooth was as that of the Anunnaki in smoothness and color it was. Ninmah, the girl child, held in her hands. She slapped her hind parts, proper sounds the newborn uttered.
Okay, so there you go. What color?
What color are the Anunnaki?
What color do you think she was? What color? Okay. See, I always tell you, the first white man that was ever born on our planet was Noah, right? I never said anything about the first white woman, right? I always led this before and would say that she was a black chick with blonde hair. But the Anunnaki aren't black. The Anunnaki are white. If the Anunnaki were black, they would say that the males also had their same skin color.
Right. They specifically say that there's a different color.
Yeah.
And they specifically say the color of the Abzu and how dark red hued it is. If that wasn't not,
she could be green.
Who knows? She could be purple.
She could be just straight brown. She could be red. She could be purple. She could be blue.
But she is not of the Abzu color.
But she has this color hair.
Mm-hmm.
And later in the Ganja Gospel, we're going to discover all the different cultures around the world and their depictions of their gods, who we now know were all Anunnaki, and how they drew them. How did the Anunnaki get drawn and depicted by the people who actually were ruled by them?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? The Anunnaki could have sand color skin, tan, which on our planet is white. If you're not black, you're white. It doesn't matter what color you are. You're not black, you're white, right? That's how they tell us. So here we have your first person born, your first female born with blonde hair, sand colored hair, right? And such a color that's not black, that's not dark. And this female is going to be used to breed the whole race of primitive workers. Okay?
A name will you give her? Enki of his spouse inquired. A being she is, not a creature. In your image she is, and after your likeness. Perfectly she is fashioned, a model for female workers you have attained. Ninki cast her hand upon the newborn's body. With her fingers, her skin she caressed. Tiamat, let her name be, the mother of life, Ninki was saying. Like the planet of old, of which the earth and the moon were, fashioned, let her be called. From her womb's life essences, other birth givers shall be molded. To a multitude of primitive workers, she thereby life will be giving.
So you understand, real quick, hold that spot.
I only have one more sentence on this.
Sorry.
Thus was Ninki saying, the others' words of concurring uttered.
So you see, they created a male. That male is going to be the mold and model for all the other people. So he's a dark-skinned, black blood, red person, Native American. That's the native Southern, South American, that skin color, the burnt red. Okay. Now they created a female that was not that color.
She was in the likeness of the mother that birthed her. It says, in your image she is, and after your likeness, the hair and the skin.
Yep. So blonde hair and probably light-skinned, right? And she was going to be now the birth womb for the rest of the females. She will never have a male in her womb. She is going to be a genetic mother for all the females. So now that the females can make love to all the male ones, and then they can make tons.
Now this is the account of Adamu and Tiamat in the Eden, and how they, knowing of procreation, were given and to the Abzu expelled. After Tiamat in the womb of Ninki was fashioned, in 7 vessels of the clay of the Abzu made Ninma ovals of the 2-legged females placed. The life essence of Tiamat she extracted, bit by bit in the vessels it inserted. In the vessels of the clay of the Abzu made, Ninma the admixture formed. Incantations as the procedure befits she was uttering. In the wombs of the birth-giving heroines, the fertilized ovals were inserted.
So she was saying the right witchy stuff. Incantations. So it's a spell for each one of them, what they are going to need to do. You need to be doing this. It's called intent, right? You put your intent in that. You are going to be this. You are going to do that. You are going to grow strong and healthy. There's going to be no problems, right? She's putting that intent in there.
There was conception. At the allotted time, birth givings were occurring. At the allotted time, 7 female earthlings were born. Their features were proper, good sounds they were uttering. Thus were 7 female counterparts for for the primitive workers created. 7 male and 7 female did the 4 leaders create them. After the earthlings were thus created, let the males and females inseminate. Let the primitive workers by themselves offspring beget. So was Enki to the other saying, after the allotted time, other offsprings will beget. Plentiful will the primitive workers' numbers. The toil of the Anunnaki they shall bear. Enki and Ninki, Ninma and Ningazita were joyful. The fruit's elixir they were drinking. For the 7 and 7 cages they made, among the trees they placed them. Let them together grow up, malehoods and femalehoods attain. Let the males and the females inseminate. Let them by themselves offspring beget. So were they to each other saying, as for Adamu and Tiamat, from the toil of the excavations they shall be protected. Let us them to the Eden bring over, to the Anunnaki therein our handiwork display.
Anzu.
So was Enki to the others saying, with that the others did concur. To Eridu, in the Eden, the city of Enki, Adamu and Tiamat were taken. An abode in an enclosure for them was built. To roam therein they could.
Azu.
The Anunnaki of the Eden came to see them. From the landing place they came. Enlil came to see them. By the sight his displeasure was diminished. Ninurta came to see them. Ninlil did as well. From the way station on Lamu, Marduk, the son of Enki, also came down to see. It was a sight most astounding, a wonder of wonders it was to behold. Your hands have made it, the Anunnaki to the fashioners were saying. The Igigi, who between earth and Lamu shuttled, were also all agog. Primitive workers have been fashioned, our days of toil to end. So were they all saying.
So you see, even the people on Mars knew that once they made these slaves, they were going to have slaves on Mars, that they wouldn't have to do this shit no more. People on Mars.
In the Abzu, the newborns were growing. For their maturing, the Anunnaki were anticipating. Enki was the supervisor. Ninma and Ningazita also came. In the excavations, the Anunnaki were grumbling. Patience to impatience gave way. Enugi, their overseer of Enki, was often inquiring. For primitive workers, the outcry he conveyed. The circuits of earth grew in number. Maturity of the earthlings was overdue. No conceiving among the females was observed. There was no birth giving. By the cages among the trees, Ningazita a couch of grass for himself made. Day and night the earthlings he was watching, their doings to ascertain. Indeed, he saw them mating. The males, the females were inseminating. Conceiving there was not. Birth giving there was not. Enki the matter deeply pondered. The creatures once combined he contemplated. None, not one of them, had offspring begotten. By 2 kinds combined, a curse has been created, Enki to the others said. Let us the essences of Adamu and Tiamat afresh examine, Ningazita was saying. Their me's, bit by bit, to be studied. What is wrong to ascertain? In Shurubak, in the house of healing, the essences of Adamu and Tiamat were contemplated. With the life essence of Anunnaki, males and females, they were compared. Like 2 entwined serpents, Ningazita the essences separated. Arranged like 22 branches on a tree of life were the essences. Their bits were comparable. The images and likenesses they properly determined. 22 they were in number. The ability to procreate they did not include. Another 2 bits of the essence in the Anunnaki present.
Just like us.
Another 2 bits of the essence in the Anunnaki present, Ningazita to the others showed. 1 male, 1 female. Without them, there was no procreating. So was he to them explaining. In the molds of Adamu and Tiamat, in the combining, they were not included. Ninma heard this and was distraught. With frustration was Enki seized. The clamor in the Abzu is great. Mutiny is again in the making. So was Enki to them saying. Primitive workers must be procured, lest the gold extracting shall be ceasing. Ningazita in these matters learned a solution was proposing. To his elders, Enki and Ninma, in the house of healing, he whispered. They all the heroines who Ninma were assisting sent away. They locked the doors behind them, the 3 with the 2 earthlings alone remaining.
Before you do this, hold on real quick. So check this out. They made all these males and females, and they're like, all right, here, go out over here in this field and go mate. So they had to wait. The Anunnaki are still down there mining. Everyone's doing their thing. Mars is all super happy because soon they're about to have slaves and they won't have to do all this work. Everyone's super happy, but they got to wait for the slave race to populate. They have to make people. So the years go by. They probably waited a shar at least. So that's 70 or 3,600 years. So by that time, there should be a huge population of slaves. So they go and look, and they're like, what the fuck? These things are dying. They're not procreating. So they go figure it out. And then, Ningazita, because he's a smart little motherfucker, he's like, hey, Pops, kick all these fucking people out of here real quick. There's all these scientists in here, all these witnesses. Kick them out of here. And he's like, all right, cool, let's kick them out. And he kicks them all out. He's like, well, what's up now? And he's standing in front of all these little humans. And he's like, all right, Pops, this is what we got to do. We have to do this, but we can't tell nobody that we did this. This is how we make them, have kids. And it's nothing to do with porn.
They locked the doors behind them, the three with the two earthlings alone remaining. Upon the four others, Ningazita a deep sleep caused to descend. The four he made unfeeling. From the rib of Enki, the life essence he extracted. Into the rib of Adamu, the life essence of Enki he inserted. From the rib of Ninma, the life essence he extracted. Into the rib of Tiamat, the life essence he inserted. There, where the incisions were made, the flesh thereon he closed up. Then the four of them by Ningazita were awakened. It is done, he proudly declared. To their tree of life, 2 branches have been added. With procreating powers, their life essences are now entwined. Let them freely roam, as one flesh, let them know each other, Ninma was saying. In the Eden's orchard, to freely roam, Adamu and Tiamat were placed. Of their nakedness, they became aware. Of malehood and femalehood, they were knowing. Tiamat of leaves aprons made, from the wild beasts to be distinguished. In the heat of the day, Enlil in the orchard was strolling. The shade he was enjoying. Without expectation, Adamu and Tiamat he encountered. The aprons on their loins he noticed. What is the meaning of this? Enlil wondered. Enki, for explaining, he summoned. The matter of procreation, Enki to Enlil explained. The 7 and 7 had failed, to Enlil he admitted. Ningazita, the life essences examined. An additional combining was needed. Great was Enlil's anger. Furious his words were.
I thought you weren't judging.
The whole thing was not to my liking. For acting as creators, I had opposed. The being that we need, it already exists. So were you, Enki, saying. All we need is put our mark on it. Thereby, primitive workers to fashion. Healing heroines themselves put at risk. Ninma and Ninki were endangered. To no avail it was all. Your handiwork was a failure. Now the last bits of our life essence to these creatures you have given, to be like us in procreation, knowing perchance our life cycles on them to bestow. Thus did Enlil with angry words speak. Enki, Ninma, and Ningazita summoned, with words Enlil to pacify. My lord Enlil, Ningazita was saying, knowing for procreation they were given. The branch of long living to their essence tree was not. Ninma then spoke up. To her brother Enlil she was saying, what was the choice, my brother? To end it all in failure? Nibiru in doom to face its fate? Or to try and try and try, and by procreation let earthlings the toil undertake? Then let them be where they are needed. Enlil with anger said, to the Abzu, away from the Eden, let them be expelled.
So there you go. So there's your Bible story of Adam and Eve in the garden. Although the garden is not what they say it is, and the actual Adam and Eve is not Adam and Eve yet, as you know them, the mother and father of Cain and Abel. This is Adamu and Tiamat, the birth, mother, and father of the entire race of primitive workers. And one's a blood red, dark-skinned person, like an Indian person, and the other person, the female, is a different color with blonde hair. She could be tan, she could be red, she could be purple, but she definitely is not the color of the male, and the male is definitely not the color of the Anunnaki. So it's very interesting there. Where did white people come from? Where did these different colors come from? When, there's a lot of uproar in the world and stuff, and we got to learn the truth. We can't just hear some stuff and go, oh yeah, that's right, because we got to go to the beginning and see who really was here. What if both were being created at the same time? What if out spat a white man and he bred with that light-skinned, blonde-headed primitive worker and out spit a pink person?
Pink.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to get there, though. We're going to get all through this and see what's happening.
Next one is tablet 7, and we'll be about halfway through. Lots of good stuff coming up.
Lots of good stuff, but just remember that the first humans on this planet were created for slavery. And in the future, we're going to go through and find out that, there was people that were put on this planet. Kingship was put down to them. And then later, people were put in slavery again on our planet. My question is, were those the original primitive worker race that were built for slavery? Not saying that it's right, because even the Anunnaki said it was wrong. But you got to think about who controls this planet truly. It ain't us. We were built for something. Enlil even said, let them be put where they're supposed to be put, right? Wherever we were needed for slavery, we were put, right? So what if they had come back? People took over. Kingship was passed down from heaven to more upgraded humans. They were more Anunnaki than they were us. They were upgraded to be demigod type people, but they were kings. That's why their blood is so pure. They try to stay within the family, just like the Anunnaki. We all think, oh my God, they're doing incest nowadays, but that's the way they do things. That is the way that the gods
Are pure.
They conduct their business like that.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. So they can't pass kingship from heaven. If you believe in the Bible, you believe in that. So that's what they do. Incest is a thing, and so to think that one race was being put over the other race, well, what if it wasn't ever like that? What if it was truly that there was one race that was built as this primitive worker race? All others after that, you're going to learn and hear about these others after that. They were separate. We stopped hearing about these primitive workers, but they were still mining the shit the whole time. They were still there. There was a whole race of primitive workers in what we are all agreeing with is Africa. There was black people in Africa working. And then they created all these other fucking people. We're going to hear about it. And those other people, are they black? Are they white? What were they? You know what I'm saying? They were created from that original white girl, though. You know what I mean? They were originally created from the females, from Lord Enki's seed. So if the females were of light skin and blonde hair, and Lord Enki was of light skin and blonde hair or whatever, and he came and banged some light skin blonde hair chick, I think he would make white people. Because, when he made Noah came out white. Mm-hmm. So in a world of black people, a white person's being born. And they're like, how the hell you mess with the milkman? And they really did mess with the milkman and his holy seed. So we're going to get to it and see how it really turns out and stuff, and see what really happened on this planet. And that's what we really got to find out, because we got people following these whole Israel people. I want to know about that. I'm interested in that, because how the hell is one of those people black? Like, you're talking about a whole line of people that we're calling Jews and they separate themselves, but one of those people was a black guy in that whole group of people, and he went that way, and every single black person is stemmed from that one person. I say that's not true. I say that can't be true. That cannot be true. We're going to go from the beginning and find out. We're going to find out who was in North and South America first, who populated North and South America, whose semen they stem from. And it will surprise you. It was not black people. They were brown and red-skinned people. And we're going to learn about the fragrant cane. A fragrant cane that is...
Notice this is actually, there was one part in this tablet where they sat back and took the elixir, and they were celebrating their success and drinking the elixir.
The elixirs and the fine oils. When
right?
they talk about the fine oils and the elixirs, that is what it is. The tinctures and the oils that they're making. The olive oils.
Yeah. So yeah, in this last tablet, when they were celebrating together, the three of them, there was a point where you did hear, hopefully, where they were partaking in elixir. And that was the cannabis elixir, their seed, where we got it from.
Yep.
They brought it.
Absolutely. The Indian Mahabharata, all that stuff in India is exactly the Anunnaki. That was the home of the gods, as we know it. That was the city of the gods. Most of it is underwater, but that was literally, go watch Planet of the Apes. Imagine the apes is the Anunnaki, and we were the human slaves. We did all their bidding. We washed their clothes. We fed them. We did all that shit. They probably used us as human dildos. Who knows, man? I mean,
they were large.
I mean, for real though. But they created us
Imagine
as
that.
large. That's why when people say that they are the descendants of people from back then, I say, why are you so short? Why are you so short? Those people were giants. Every person on the planet was a giant at that time. Compared to us, if we were to see this Adamu and Tiamat creature, they would be fucking huge. They'd be way taller than us, man. It's just, all the animals were bigger then. They were fucking huge. Let a 6-foot man stand in front of a saber-tooth tiger. You'd look like a fucking little, you know what I mean? They don't even depict it right in movies. The things were giant. Everything was a giant back then. Adam, the true Adam, was reported to be 15 feet tall. That's 15 feet. Now,
That's twice the size of him. More than twice the size of him.
That's huge. He could pick me up and use me as a weapon. You know what I mean? And then after that, there was giants reported to be even taller. Some were reported to be 3 miles tall or 1.5 miles or whatever. And we're going to hear later on, too, in these stories where they ripped off the top of mountains and threw them at people. Broke the tops of mountains right off and threw them at people.
Crazy stories coming up, guys. Crazy.
And
entertaining and enlightening.
And as you know, they also labored at the trees that a lot of you think are mountains. They're trees that were chopped down and a flood covered them for 150 years. A flood covered these trees, and the minerals of the earth turned those trees into rock. You know what I'm saying? People say, oh, it takes so long for trees to petrify. Bullshit. They petrify everything. They take frogs and shit and take them to these mineral rich sources. And within, I think, 30 or 45 days, these things are solid crystals, rocks.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No. We're almost done.
So, science in the past has done us well, but also led us astray to think that only that thing is possible and the others aren't possible. That's where the disbelief comes from, because we think in this one thing, and we think if it doesn't fit in there, it can't be possible. But now we're finding the reality. You can take this to those mineral rich caves and put it in that drip in that water and come back 45 days. That bitch would be solid crystal. So we realize that in a situation that's perfect like that, these things could happen super fast. We're thinking we're seeing geological miracles that are taking, a billion years to be created or whatnot, and it's literally happening in our lifetime. It could happen in our lifetimes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's just the truth that we're realizing now in our world, and that's what's so cool, because what used to be science fiction of flying machines and magical carpets is now actually
it's valid.
It's a reality,
It's
because
valid.
now people know what truly is God, and that's frequency. And Ray had asked if we ever heard God. I hear God all the time. It's frequency, bro. Do you feel God though? Do you feel the God inside you? Do you feel your own frequency? Can you manipulate other things with your frequency? Not your mood, not you punching person. Can you manipulate person with just your frequency power and make them feel something? Can you do that? When you do that, you will know truly what God is, bro. That's when you're going to know what God is in a God mud fossils. The God power is, man.
It's in each of us. It's us.
God is no man. God is no man that flew here in a spaceship and dug gold out of the ground to save their world. A man created us. A man from a different planet that's in our solar system that can be seen in our skies. Yeah, oh, yes. The son of the sun. It's here. It's here. This is the age of enlightenment. The Enki ship is overhead.
Welcome. Time to wake up.
Time to wake up and smoke in your reality.
Because if you don't wake up, you're just going to get a rude motherfucking awakening in the future. Yep. Because it's coming, guys. I'm sorry to say, but there's just too much knowledge and knowing out there for anybody to keep themselves hidden anymore. And those of us that decide to turn our blind eye to it, that's on us.
Yep. Absolutely. Is it lit for you?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's like you're smoking an Anunnaki hand. It's an Anunnaki arm. So in these series, you're going to hear a lot of your Bible gospel. Your creation stories. Jesus is coming. Moses is coming. All these people are coming. Moses is probably way before Jesus, actually. But we don't get to hear it from the sheeple side. We get to hear it from what you think is God's side. Yes. And as they're mining the planet, they encounter shit that happens with the people. You know what I mean? So you got to tell people, oh, shit, you're about to get destroyed. They talk about Sodom and Gomorrah in here. Of course, Sodom and Gomorrah is called something totally different. They're the twin cities. If you guys missed it, they're the twin cities. And they get destroyed by meteors that come from the fucking sky and shit. And I think Enlil probably fucking lassoed some of that shit up and was like, kill that motherfucker down there. Because brimstone and fire doesn't come from God. It comes from space. Those are meteors.
Yeah.
Or it could be a volcano, but there's no volcanoes in that area.
We are getting into all Anunnaki knowledge, and it's fun and exciting. You're right. You know what, Danielle, my God, I'm sorry. Danielle.
That's from...
it is fun and exciting. It is. And I have a question to ask you guys, just because I want to make sure that you are being entertained as well as being educated.
Yeah.
Can I get a review on my reading? Like, I know sometimes I don't know. I just want just a little review on how I'm doing on the reading aspect of things.
I think you're doing great.
Because it's this, honestly, it's not an easy book to read. It's not an easy read. So, yeah.
I think you're doing lovely. And, I jump in and break it up for you. So kind of monotonize it a little bit.
Demonetizes it, you mean?
Whatever it is. It breaks it up so you kind of understand what the hell you're reading. You get to be like, oh, okay, that's what they're fucking talking about here, instead of just hearing words.
I like that, Billy Bong. I might have to use that. Wake up and bake up.
Wake up and bake up. It's the first of the month. It's the first smoke of the
day. Zeppelin's still waking up. It's 7:30 in the morning.
Oh,
there. He's in the future.
There you go.
We're all awake. I think a lot of us here are awake, and that's why we engage in these kind of things, and we want and learn. We want to know more. We want to learn more. We're okay with hearing it again and again, because it embeds in us what is going on, and it creates the reality that we've been questioning for so long. It's like, wait a minute. Fucking no wonder why I question this shit, And right now there's a big divide. There is absolutely a big divide with the Enlightenment era. Are you enlightened or are you closed off? We get both people in here, and that's one thing that I ask. We all can be have different beliefs, and we all can be, learning them, but what we should not be is judgmental, or if we cannot not be judgmental, then please don't say judgmental things. That's what I think. You can question, but do not put things down and disrespect. So I'm just going to put that out there. As you can see, I will take a wrench away if you are.
And don't be racist. Don't be racist. The journey and the path is of the truth. We need to find the truth before we destroy ourselves. That's what I think the human race is going to do, is destroy itself. And we need to find the truth before there becomes a race war, because there's a lot. I see a lot of things. And, the 2020 stuff, the riots that happened, the black on white stuff, the black power stuff, the Black Lives Matter stuff, everything's coming down to now. If you ain't black, you're a heathen. Kind of see all this stuff, and it seems like another racial twist is happening where, I see people realizing that they used to be in power of the world. And then now, like, white people are taking over, and then they were suppressed, and it seems like they're getting back their power. And it's like, but hold on, let's slow the fuck down. Let's learn the truth about everything before we kill each other and destroy things and start racism back up against people who we don't even know what the fuck the truth is. You know what I'm saying? If we all agree that they've been lying to us for all this time, then let's all come together as the human race, one tribe, right? Who gives a fuck about your color? Right. We're all from here. We're all from Earth.
Eventually, that is what is going to happen. Because, as a planet, we're not going to be the only ones that know, that are going to be, we're not the only ones on this planet from, whatever, outer space. But pretty soon we're going to know about them, and we're going to have to accept that fact. And we're going to have to come together as human beings, not separate.
Because people were built for slavery. You were built for slavery on this planet. You know what I'm saying? And then later they built a separate society. And that society became, what we know as Samaria. But at the same time, there was still a whole goddamn race of the primitive workers doing all the work. So, we need to find out the truth of all this and figure out what happened, where it was, why it happened, who was who, And before we start hating because of color or nationality
or beliefs,
we need to start knowing that we're human, and we're like children. We're being lied to. We need to find the truth. If it doesn't matter to you, then it doesn't matter to you.
And that's fine. Go about your business and your life. But I don't condemn it on those that it does matter to.
I would like to know the truth.
Yeah.
Yo, Chef Flat, Michigan Dave.
So we're going to keep searching for it. And
I would
keep
like
enlightening.
to know the truth. Witchcraft came from somewhere. And in this book, you hear about witchcraft. They all did witchcraft. They all did all the rituals that you'll see throughout all the religions. These beings, these people, I don't like calling them beings. They're people from another planet. If I went to another planet, maybe I'd be a giant. Maybe I have some supernatural power and some holy semen. Who fucking knows? But on their planet, they knew that they were that powerful being. They knew that they were given this special ability to do that. But their law was to not do that. Not create life.
Yeah.
Only on their planet was it supposed to be life.
They were not. It was. I mean, I always when I read these and I think about what goes on between planet and all these things that they're doing, that they did do, I can't help but think about Star Trek shit. I think about all these sitcoms and things that we've been accustomed to in the last 30 to 40 years that deal with space and space travel and this, that, and the other. And there were rules put in place in Star Trek. You don't mess with the planets, right? It's the same fucking thing. It's the same. Where did this stuff come from? Where did these thoughts and ideas? I mean, we all can't just I know we've got imagination, but God damn it, there's truth in everything you see and hear, guys. There is.
So this book here, these writings here, are the times before people, obviously, and then people come. So, most people, you're used to your Bible or whatnot, your Quran, all those different ones, like even Mahabharata. Those are times. The early times, of course, was when there was no people. They talk about the battles of the big giant birds and the gods that were fighting on top of them, flying them, right? Those are their spaceships. We just went over that, the big battle they had, right? Then, we hear in the Quran talks about, God talking to the people and everything too. There you go. There's your clue. There was people. There was people involved there. So this was where the people came from. The people didn't get created by God. And then all of a sudden there's all these damn people. Like, our Bible doesn't tell you shit. It literally doesn't tell you. They say, like, God provided this person with a wife, like Lot provided this person with a wife. Well, where the fuck do you get that wife from? You talk about God's the only person with magic and nobody else does. No one else has a supernatural power, but God can go boom. No, they were genetically creating women for these fucking people. They go, here's your wife. And you start banging her, making kids, and make all your sons and daughters. That's why they'd have 89 wives and fucking, think about it. They kept their laws of the harem. Even though there was a shit ton of women on the planet, they still kept I want 50 of them. And I'm going to have as many kids as I possibly can. Because why? Why would they do that? They were creating a population, right, of slaves. All the slaves. But that's all this is the story of what they were doing and why we came about. Why would God come here? If God is God, why would God come here and just be like, oh, I want to make humans? For fucking what reason? I'm God. I could do anything. Why would I stop on this piece of shit planet and make a fucking person? For what? Let's make Adam and Eve and stay here for the rest of my fucking existence playing with these fucking people. Come on. Let's think about things here. That makes no sense. We got a whole universe. I'm God. I created this shit with a fucking sound, right? And created everything. Why would I stick on this one planet if I'm a person? Why would I stay here? God's all knowing and God's all powerful. Absolutely. So is frequency. So is frequency. So is the rhythm. So is the vibration. So is all of it. If your eyes work correctly, you would see that there's two waves sitting next to each other, intertangling, quantum entangling with each other. That's all we are. We're waves. We're vibrations. I have this vibration. My vibration takes this form, right? Every time I alter my vibration, I alter my form, right? So right now I'm combining my vibration with her vibration, right? People that are connecting can feel people when they're close to them. Like, even if you're blind, you can still know when someone's around you, right? That's because you're connected. You feel energy by you. You feel a difference, whether it be, if you close yourself off and you go, I feel a temperature change. I felt wind, whatever it might be. But if you open yourself, you will feel that vibration come by you. Because some of the sneaky motherfuckers, they can sneak right up behind you. You won't know it. But if you're connected, you'd be like, what do you want? They'd be like, how the fuck did you know I'm here? I felt you, bro. It feels like you're pooter poking me, man. You about to pooter poke me?
It takes actually, I think it kind of goes in tandem with people who scare easily versus people who don't, because you can just sense that energy around you. There's something going on, something there, something you're aware of, a presence, so I get startled. I don't necessarily get scared, but I get startled because I do know his presence is there, but sometimes he's a little closer than I thought. And I'm like, oh, there you are.
She gets a spidey sense. Sometimes I don't feel her presence. And then she'll jump in the room like, holy Jesus fuck. I'm
because
like,
I'm meaning to scare him. I'm not like, I'm not spreading.
Sometimes though, I will feel the presence of something, right? And I won't expect there to be, like, sometimes when I really jump, I won't expect there to be no one there. But I feel the presence of something, and I'm looking deep is what I'm doing. I open my eyes up to a different reality, a different realm of existence, right? And then when she's there, I'm like, whoa! Oh my God! Because it's like, there wasn't supposed to be a physical being here. It's really weird.
What did the Anunnaki want the gold for? And okay, so I'm going to put this up here real quick.
They were fixing their
because GR420 Community Videos here has a great answer. Their planet was losing its atmosphere. I'm not entirely from our sun, not necessarily their sun, but the atmosphere was dwindling. It was not being, they had to fix, kind of like our ozone layer, right?
Exactly.
They had to fix it so that they could continue surviving and thriving on the planet, or their planet was going to dry up and die.
They're getting a breach. They're getting a breach in their atmosphere.
So gold.
Their sun had a black spot in it, is what it was. That black spot kept opening wider and wider and wider. Then they realized that gold, they tried everything. They threw everything they could up in that air, and everything that went up came back down. They said, no, that shit don't work. And then they said, well, the only thing that's going to work, because they are a sun, was gold. That's the only thing that would shield them and keep the radiation away, would be gold.
Yeah.
So
definitely. So awesome community videos for having that answer ready for Billy Bong. That's awesome.
That's awesome. What Sitchin wrote. Other people tried to deny what Zechariah Sitchin wrote and said that was bullshit. It was just formulated. That was out of his mind. And people thought it was too far-fetched, too science fiction, too make-believe. So guess what they did? They went out, they learned cuneiform, they learned ancient Sumerian and Anunnaki, and they read it themselves. And sure as fuck, it says exactly what Zechariah Sitchin says, word for word. All about the gold, all about the making of people, all about all that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, someone did write this, but somebody wrote this 2,000 years, or at least before the Bible was ever written.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Bible is not the first book, guys. Not the first depiction on anything.
Yep. These were written. These stories were depictions of Lord Enki, right? They were his remembrances of what happened, right? So then we got the Bible stories are people on the ground, sheeple on the ground, people.
Yeah,
actually,
that
us,
our point of view stuff.
our point of view,
not
as,
from their point of view.
Yes, as we lived the life, the everyday life, you know, and we wrote it down and what people were doing on this planet, and they wrote it as they saw it, looking down from, you know, heaven, their command ship, going, oh, okay, cool, we got mining over there, and look, man, those people are making civilization. Oh man, they're making war and shit. Oh look, that one brother killed his own brother. That's the first time someone's been murdered on this planet.
Yes, they are in our solar system, but they make a completely different circuit. They are elliptical versus our cyclical. Okay, they go. So if you look at our solar system, it's like this, right? There, all of our planets go around the circle like this, right? It's all round. Theirs goes into a huge elongated oval across our solar system.
Known as what?
You don't pop quiz me. What?
Known as what?
Oh, the cross. The
Known
crossing.
as the crossing.
It's the crossing of the Nibiru sun in the elliptical stages, because it goes way out. It almost surpasses our entire little universe, right?
Yeah.
It goes that far out.
Galaxy.
The galaxy, thank you.
I mean,
yeah, you guys know.
solar system.
Solar system, exactly. So it goes way far out and comes way back in and comes. So when we have these second sun sightings and things like that, and things that are happening to the Earth and fluctuations of this, that, and the other, we have this random ass planet that comes in out of nowhere every few thousand years because of its elliptical pattern.
So when they say Jesus died on the cross, no, he didn't. He died on the crossing. That's the only way that damn building can break, right? The plagues happen and shit because there was a planet coming through, and all those things were happening, and the planet was getting all fucked up already. So it's just a thing. Yeah, Jesus wasn't Jesus. We're gonna find out who Jesus was coming up real soon.
Yeah. So if you want to, Billy Bong, and I know they're about an hour to an hour and a half a piece. The previous tablets are on separate videos that we've done live for everybody. And it does go into all the tablets up to now. And that actually is the stories that have been explained so far. So if you did want to go back and take a look at me reading and TwizTD's interpretation. Jeez. That's my son, by the way. I don't know. I don't even know when I did that before.
You did it last week too.
Did I?
Yep.
Oh Lord.
It's coming.
But yeah, you can always go back and take a look at those.
Your kung fu no good here.
And just to say before we take a dip out here, Books Aloud, BOOKZ Aloud is my new a new channel that I'm starting, and I'm reading out loud as I'm doing now with you. But it is straight stories all the way through, no intercession from TwizTD. So I am starting with this book on that channel. I'm going to post them when all of the chapters are read, so that nobody's wanting for the next chapter. But once I get them done, it's going to boom post on there, and those will be free for you to listen to as well. And that's just me reading straight through. So that is also out there for you.
Yep. And next week we're going to learn.
Should I say the synopsis of next week's?
What's happening?
No. Okay.
What's happening with these primitive workers? What happens with the Igigi? The workers, the actual Anunnaki workers, and how things stroll and play along here on Mission Earth, and coming soon is Cain and Abel. We all know the Cain and Abel story. So
cheers, Frank.
Here's my thing: if these stories were a lie, how are they written way before any of those people wrote any of that shit that they wrote that ended up in our Bible.
That are considered truth now.
That they're considered truth. Why are they writing about these things way before any of them that they ever wrote that, if they're alive? And how are they alive? If those are truth, how are these alive?
Give us a good argument. You know, don't just say it's a lie. Bring some reasons, bring some facts, bring some arguments. Let's debate why. We're not afraid of it.
Yep. These are proven to be written before anything. The first writings that we found as a human race on our planet was this. And the Sumerian tablets, the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's nothing before that. You know, if you say, yeah, this culture, Chinese, has been writing history, and I'm going to say, yeah, the Chinese, that's a human. The human was writing that. Sure. Okay, cool. That might have been before the Bible. Absolutely. But not this.
I was going to say.
This is the Sumerians. This is the gods. This is the Anunnaki wrote this shit down.
Attestation, which means basically their autobiography. Okay. Yeah. This is their accounts. So this is from their mouth and their hands that they are saying this. Every other book that we have is from a human's hand. From a person. From a human's perspective. So there's a difference.
Yep.
And that first and foremost is what I think you have to open your mind about.
Yeah, you have to learn that truth of it, that they're talking in their time versus human time all the time. They're talking about how they made the 7 days, how they discovered the stars that line up in constellations.
It's all in parallel. It's just, but it's different. It's like, you know, same but different, same but different. It's very parallel. You can hear it. You can hear the story be parallel to what we've all learned in the Bible.
Well, the story is a story.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That it's humans have depicted it differently.
Oh, in the future, we're going to learn exactly why that was. It was a spell put on the human race. Some of us have broke free from that spell, or it didn't work on us, or our genetics have been washed out or corrupted too much by the DNA of Lord Enki, and you know, we have the holy seed, like O negatives or RH positive type people. You know, maybe you and I have the holy seed that we can give our essence to all, right? Unlike the RH negative, where they destroy babies, they will kill babies. That's the baby killer DNA.
My goodness.
So yeah, but we're gonna learn next time what happens on Mission to Earth. So stay tuned to the Ganja Gospel. It always looks like an upside down face to me, don't it?
A little bit, yeah.
But it's totally not. It's an alien smoking a joint. All right, everybody. Until next time, I'm Twisted.
I'm Lalana, or Amber Lalana.
And we're rooted deep into the ancient knowledge of our ancestors and finding the truth. And who was who on this planet? Who was first? Who is the primitive workers? What are they? Who are they? Who are you now? Are you human? Are you even human? Are you a reptilian? Where did the reptilians come from? Who is Zeus?
That's a t-shirt, babe. Are you even human?
Are you even human?
All right, everybody.
Peace out.
Peace out. Until next time.
Until next time on Ganja Gospel. Stay frosty, everybody.